I'm gonna be taking you around today, and you would have already spotted my accent. I'm not originally from London. I'm French. I bet you've already spotted that, but just in case, if you imagined I was from Liverpool, no. Cool. Let's go. So we are here in front of a lovely little church. The city of London is full of churches. When I say the city of London, I mean the square mile. So this is the old Roman city, the business district nowadays. And I'll show you the names of the streets here. St Dunstan's Hill. You can already see that the church is not very full in the inside. And if you ever wonder where you are, those little posts with the red line and the white line, sometimes they have little stars. That means you are in the city, in the square mile. I'll show you one more. When you see those little stars like this, that's that you in the city of London. If you went into Westminster, the pillars would be very, very different. Super, let's go in. So that's St Dustan's in the east. If you wanted to come and visit this lovely little church when you visit London, make sure you put in your GPS St Dustan in the east. I'll show you how it's spelled. Because we also have St Dustan in the west. We will actually see it, not this Sunday, but the Sunday after that, in my Dark Tales of Fleet Street, the other St Dustan. That's about a mile away, maybe a bit more, on the other side of the city. Super, let's go. So what happened here? This church is actually quite old. It dates back to Saxon times. Well, not this building here, but the first one. And it was redone under Dustan. He would have been the Bishop of London, and eventually he was the Bishop of the Archbishop of Canterbury. And later on, after his death, he was canonized. He became a saint. So he's the one that kind of redid the church a little bit. And then eventually it was completely destroyed in 1666 through the Great Fire of London. I'll give you a view here because that's quite nice for postcard. This is like Instagrammer hotspots, you know, especially when it's very sunny. They all come here to do their little Insta stories and photographs. So it was completely burned down after the Great Fire. And then it was rebuilt by Sir Christopher Wren, the greatest architect of the time. Some might say the greatest architect of all times. So it was redone. And then in 1941, through the Blitz, it was bombed. So that's how it lost its roof. That's quite a cool postcard here. Oh, I'll show you here. This little garden has won quite a lot of competitions. So, because it's so well maintained, and they've got the gardeners and stuff. Nature kind of reclaimed the church, but nature is helped by the gardeners, and they've planted some amazing trees like this palm tree here. So yeah, the church lost its roof through the bombings, through the Blitz in 1941. The tower, so that tower behind the tree there, that's from Christopher Wren. So that's the only part that really survived. So we are now inside the church. Sometimes they do some kind of events like outdoor services. That's really rare. I've never been here for a service, but it does happen. But at the moment, it's mainly a little oasis for bankers. The city of London now, it's much quieter, but because of COVID. But before COVID, if you'd come here at this time, it's almost lunchtime, it would have been very, very busy with bankers or people in suits having their little lunch. Oh yes, for a wedding ceremony. And you also often find people doing their wedding photo shoots here. especially in East Asia, they do a lot of wedding photos before the wedding, you know. They often come here as well, yeah. Yeah, usually you would have quite a few people having their lunches here, but since COVID, at the top of the street there's a little pret-a-manger, you know, sandwich place. They never reopened. Well, there's many pret-a-manger in the city, but this one here, it's still closed because they have far less customers, because a lot of people still work from home. Look at that. It's really cute. If I worked in the city, I would definitely come here for my lunch. Maybe not when it's cold like today, but and here we're now outside of the church. I suppose this would have been the graveyard. And look at what we see on the other side, the shard. Oh, you like the pret-a-manger tuna sandwich? So do I, actually, Linda. I used to work for pret-a-manger years and years ago when I first came to London. Oh, and let me show you this tree. This is actually quite peculiar. I think it originated in Argentina. It is called, what is it called? Dreamis wintery. And those leaves, they're really, really high in vitamin C. So back in the days, they used to use it to make some kind of tea to prevent scabies. Scabies? Yeah. Because, yeah. Scabies? How is it called? The lack of scabies, yeah? I feel like it's not the real world. So, yeah, that's quite a cool plant, and it's nice to find it. Scabies, that's the one. Wow, look at that. It is even nicer when it's very sunny because the sun would go through the windows. Oh, actually, let me show you the window here. Straight down, you might see a little bit of a monument, a little flame almost, straight down in the middle here. This is the monument to the Great Fire of London. We'll go out of the church now. I'll just show you the river as well while we're here, and we can have a little look at the monument from the distance. So the Great Fire of London, it started very close from here. It started on Pudding Lane in September 1666. Pudding Lane, it's named Pudding Lane because of the bakers. You'd have to imagine the street as almost like a fast food street. You'd have a lot of bakers, so you could go for a pie. You'd have a lot of roasters as well. Imagine like big fires and a lot of kids roasting a lot of meat. Like around the fire, you might have like 6 roasting, those roasting sticks. And so it would have been a very dangerous street in terms of fire. And let's not forget, baking flour, it's actually very combustible, very inflammable, especially when it's in the air. So Pudding Lane would have been a dangerous place, and it's not very surprising that the fire started there. But at the time, when catastrophes happened, they believed it was a punishment of God. There was no other option, really. So because it started on Pudding Lane and it finished at Pie Corner, they believed they were being punished for gluttony. Because they thought if they were being punished for lust, it would have started on Drury Lane, where you had a lot of sex workers at the time. If it was because of blasphemy, it would have started right here, the building in front of me. This is it used to be the Billingsgate Fish Market, and apparently the porters in the fish markets, they used to be they used to swear quite a lot. So then it would have started here. But because it started on Pudding Lane, it has to be gluttony. So they believed they were being punished for eating and drinking too much. I'm going to cross over the street, and we'll have a little look at the river while we're here, because it's literally just behind the fish market. Yeah, let's go. A post box. I like post boxes. Let's see how old. See, it says E2R Elizabeth II Regina. So it's not that old. This one would have been built under the reign of our present queen. Sometimes they're really old. If you see VR, that would be Victoria Regina, Queen Victoria. See, straight down, that's the monument. So we built it to remember the Great Fire of London, and that is Pudding Lane just there. Believe it or not, there's actually more people that died jumping off the monument, committing suicidal, than people dying in the Great Fire of London. There's only 6 recorded deaths in the Great Fire of London. So it's not that many. 100,000 Londoners would have ended up being homeless, their businesses burned, their houses burned, but not many people actually died. Yeah, they run away. And a lot of rats died, so that's quite good because we had just finished a big plague, the plague of 1665 and 1666. So at least that eliminated some rats. Wow, there we go. That's the Shard. We're arriving at the river here. Welcome, Debbie. Welcome, Mark. Sorry, that's the end of the tour. We've got a few minutes to go. It's a shorty today, so you might have to join me again. So that's the Shard. It was at some point one of the, it was the tallest building in Europe. Not really anymore. Some historians believe that many more died, but they were not recorded, Michael says. It could be possible, but the thing is, even poor people, usually they would have been recorded. They had the, how is it called? The bills of death, the bills of mortality that were published every week, and people used to buy them. That's why they were aware when the plague was coming, and so every death should normally be recorded by the parish authorities. But yeah, it is possible that some poor people going missing or not coming back, they might not be recorded unless the parish found the body. If the parish have the body, then that would be recorded. Yeah, but yeah, good to know, Michael. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Paul. Yeah. So just to let you know what we see now, this is the London Bridge. It's a modern bridge. It dates back to the 70s. It's a very famous bridge because back in the days, you would have this building with this bridge with the buildings on top. And let's turn around. So that's the old fish market. The new one is now in Canary Wharf. But if you look on top of the building, you might see the little, the wind thing with the fish. That's because it was fish market designed by Sir Horace Jones, the same gentleman that designed the Tower Bridge, the Smithfield Market, and the Leadenhall Market, where we'll go this afternoon after the walkie-talkie. And I'll turn around here so you can see the Tower Bridge. There we go. So straight down, that's the Tower Bridge. Do you guys know why we call it the Tower Bridge? Any guesses? A lot of people believe that it's because we've got 2 towers on it. It is actually because it's right next to the Tower of London. Yes, exactly, Mark. Yeah, you got it. Michael as well, yeah. And straight down, you can see the HMS Belfast. It was used in the Normandy landing. Now it is here. It's a museum. And behind the Belfast, you might see a rounded building. Some people call it the Egg, because it's the same architect as the Gherkin, Norman Foster. It is City Hall, so that's where Sadiq Khan would go every morning to work, unless he works from home. I'm not sure. Cool, guys. That's gonna be the end of the tour.